The end of Secret Beast Wars is here, and King Grimlock makes an appearance and takes on Magmatron. What's up everyone, James here, and make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't seen our first video of this series, I'll have a link to it at the end of this video. Also, I forgot to mention this in the last video, but this series was written by Furman, one of the GOATs of Transformers comics. So this opens with Optimus Primal, Cheetor, and Rhinox. If you're wondering why Optimus Primal and Cheetor look so different from Rhinox, it's because they have Transmetal forms. Initially, I wasn't going to explain what that is, but someone later in the story is going to gain a Transmetal form. So warning, this will be slight spoilers for the Beast Wars show. You can use the timestamps below to skip this part of the video if you don't care. So Optimus, Cheetor, and many other Transformers had changed due to a quantum surge caused by the destruction of the Vox Planet Buster, which I mentioned in the last video. That surge mutated some of the Transformers forms into Transmetals. Now, Transmetal was such an awesome change up in the Beast Wars show, because though the new form they were given was primarily mechanical, it did keep many of the organic elements of their beast forms, but added a third mobility form, which was their beast modes with vehicular elements. Like Megatron became this jet-flying T-Rex rollerblader, and Optimus Primal became a sky-surfing gorilla. It was amazing. Now, Optimus Primal had gained his mighty Prime form because he merged his Spark with Optimus Prime's for a time. Even though eventually that was no longer the case, he was still able to keep this form. We see Razorbeast and the other Maximals sneak past them without being seen. Remember, Magmatron and all the Predacons that came with him, including Razorbeast playing double agent, and the protoform pods they reformatted, were all chronically displaced, basically taken out of the native time stream. That way his plans wouldn't affect space and time. Another thing to remember is that Razorbeast and the other Maximals have come to the Ark to find the parts necessary to fix the transwarp signal booster they took from Ravage's crashed ship so they can send a warning message to Cybertron about Magmatron's plans. As that's going on, we're going to meet yet another faction that appears in this secret Beast Wars. We go to a group of Predacons led by Transketo in the swamp, tracking down any stray Maximals. They immediately open fire when they spot what they think is a Maximal in an owl beast form. Suddenly, a Transformer in a Scorpion beast mode leaps out of the water and strikes Retrax. Another one pops out of the water in the form of a gator, and it rips apart Power Pinch. At the same time, Transketo confronts the owl, who transforms into a freaking bear attacking him. He roars, "This region is ours. No Predacons, no Maximals, only mutants." Now, this group is awesome and unique. They call themselves the Mutants because they don't have a robot mode, but they do have two different beast modes. What sucks about their appearance here is we don't ever see this group again. Furman teases them, and then they are never seen again. Now from here, we're going to see Ravage return to the Beast Wars. Magmatron and the Predacons find a blank protoform pod. Now, Drillbit asks Magmatron if he is sure they can't handle everything themselves. Magmatron answers they were already supposed to have returned to Cybertron by now. They don't have time to take out Razorbeast before he sends his warning message to Cybertron and capture Megatron. Now, the reason why Magmatron has chosen to fulfill his mission of capturing Megatron the Tripredacus Council set him on is because his original plan, as we know, was to return to Cybertron with an army of Predacons at his back that would join his forces that are already there in order for him to stage his coup and overthrow the Maximal Imperium. However, Razorbeast threw a wrench in those plans when he cut that army of Predacons by at least half when he sent his viral code that piggybacked on the Predacon shell program they sent to the protoform pods undisturbed on Earth, activating the Maximal protoforms and protecting them from the shell program. So Magmatron wants to offer Megatron up as a peace offering to the Council and continue to grow his forces until he's ready to stage his coup. Drillbit then brings up the possibility of Ravage not being trustworthy, since he is a Tripredacus agent. But Magmatron responds that Ravage only cares about the best individual to help him advance. Also, no one is more qualified to track down Razorbeast and the Maximals. Magmatron puts Ravage's spark into the protoform pod and says 2 parts Predacon, 1 part Decepticon, a survivor of the Great War. Such potent raw material shouldn't go to waste. Arise, Ravage! The Decepticon and Predacon hybrid is back in a Transmetal beast form, and he looks badass. Returning to the Maximals, they successfully fixed the transwarp signal booster. However, they've used older parts to fix it, so Razorbeast mentions it'll work for a short time before it eventually burns out. At that moment, Snarr comes out of his cloaking, scaring Razorbeast in the process, and informs him he has launched a sensor drone that's currently picking up Magmatron heading towards Megatron. And that's where we go to next. Megatron returning from a mission. He sends Rampage and Inferno ahead. When he is alone, Magmatron slips out of chronal displacement and strikes. But Megatron frees himself from his grasp, pointing out that the council has sent another lackey to do their dirty work. He lands a blow on Magmatron and tells him he thought the council would learn from Ravage failing his mission, which he didn't fail per se. He successfully captured Megatron, but just ended up joining him. Megatron gloats and says, "It takes more than one operative, be they an ex-Decepticon or decorated general, to stop my grand plans." Magmatron replies, "But whoever said I came alone?" At that moment, Drillbit and Iguanus emerge from chronal displacement and get the drop on Megatron, knocking him out. They attach a chronal phase armband on him in order to take him out of the native timeline. That way, the timeline isn't affected. As Magmatron plans to return to Cybertron with Megatron, he leaves the rest of his forces for Ravage to lead. Their goal will be to hunt down Razorbeast and wipe out his Maximals. Now, speaking of the Maximals, Razorbeast splits up the Maximals. Most of them will try to send a warning message back to Cybertron, while he and Optimus Minor will try to prevent, or at the very least, delay Magmatron from traveling back to Cybertron until the warning message reaches Cybertron. While en route, Razorbeast tells Optimus Minor he knows exactly where Magmatron's transportation device is located, which is called a transwarp shunt. He also tells him that he's been consistently sending out his gathering signal to the other Maximals across the globe, and is hoping there is someone in the vicinity of the device that can help them out. Once they reach Magmatron, Razorbeast realizes the transwarp shut is already activated. So he tells Minor they need to move fast, but they need a distraction. And oh boy, does a distraction come right at the nick of time. Drillbit reports to Magmatron that their perimeter sensors have been breached by something big, and a voice responds, "Got that right." Magmatron asks, "And you are?" The voice answers, "Me, Grimlock, King of Beasts." The king of the Dinobots, Grimlock, is finally in the Beast Wars. This is something the rebooted IDW Beast Wars wanted to do, but sadly, they never got to do it. Now, in true Grimlock fashion, he starts wrecking everyone. He tears apart Drillbit, and then does the same to Iguanus, except he freaking eats him. Like, straight up, chews him up, swallows him, it seems like. If you're ever curious about why Grimlock is so awesome, that's why. Magmatron, not shaken up at all by the massacre he just witnessed of his Predacons, threatens Grimlock. He says, "Normally, I would crush you and be done with it, but I have places to be. Withdraw now, and you will live." Grimlock is just like, "Withdraw? Man, I'm about to beat your ass." Magmatron transforms into his 3 beast modes, and Grimlock takes them all on. Now, while they're fighting, Optimus Minor steals Magmatron's chronal phase armbands. The fight between Magmatron and Grimlock becomes even more intense, and even though he's outnumbered 3-1, Grimlock is holding strong. He's even frustrating Magmatron because he just refuses to go down. Eventually, though, sadly, Grimlock does fall. Man, I really wish Simon Furman had Grimlock transform and take on Magmatron. Also, Grimlock only lost because of the plot. I'm standing on that. Because something Simon Furman forgot about that he established in the earlier issues that we saw in the last video is when one of Magmatron's beast forms gets hurt, the rest of the beast forms also feel it and momentarily get stunned. That didn't happen at all in the fight with Grimlock, who did land blows on some of Magmatron's beast forms. Anyways, Magmatron gets notified by his transwarp shut that it's begun its countdown. He prepares to leave until Razor Beast shows up, saying, "After all we've been through, you don't have time to say goodbye?" Magmatron replies, smirking, "Razor Beast, for you, I'll make time." Meanwhile, Ravage and the other Predacons find the Maximals' lair, and they strike. At the same time, the Maximals begin to send their warning message to Cybertron, but Schnar informs them it's going to take some time for the message to get out. So that sucks for them, but it gets worse because the Predacons' attack causes a rock slide that threatens to bury the Maximals in their lair. Schnar orders them to run for it while he stays to ensure the message gets sent. Even though they escape from getting buried, waiting outside for them isn't much better. Ravage's entire Predacon force attacks them. There's no back and forth here. The Maximals are just doing their best to survive the onslaught. Just when they end up surrounded and are about to be picked off individually, the freaking most significant Maximal force ever seen arrives and is ready to kick some Predacon ass, son. Also, we see what I'm pretty sure is the biggest Maximal ever. His name is Torka, and he's a fuser, which is basically a transformer who is a combination of two different beasts. Torka is a mixture of a killer whale and an elephant, and he looks so cool. I love that he roars, "Maximals, break some heads!" Now the story doesn't cut away from here. We see this fight go down and it's wild. The Maximals and Predacons clash. The battlefield is filled with bodies being torn apart or blown up. Faces are getting smashed. It is pure chaos on the battlefield. It's the most amazing scene we get in this entire series. Returning to Magmatron and Razor Beast, their second fight here is a lot different when compared to their first fight in the last video, because Razor Beast came prepared. Using one of the Chrono Phase armbands that Optimus Miner stole, he phases himself in and out every time Magmatron attempts to land a blow on him. And every time he misses, Razor Beast responds with every bit of firepower he has, hitting Magmatron from multiple directions. While Razor Beast is keeping Magmatron distracted, Optimus Miner removes the Chrono Phase armband on the unconscious Megatron to phase him back into the native timeline. Magmatron tries to stop him, but when he's at the center of the transwarp shut, and just when the countdown is about to reach 1, Razor Beast says, "Sorry Magmatron, but you're out of time." He destroys the transwarp shut's controls, so instead of sending Magmatron back to Cybertron as initially programmed, with the controls destroyed at the last second, Magmatron is wiped from existence. Now you could argue, had Magmatron split into his beast forms, he would have had a better chance of landing a blow on Razor Beast, and this might have not happened to him, and I would definitely agree. Returning to the Maximals, they end up defeating Ravage and his Predacons. However, Ravage didn't enter the battle, he actually watched it from a distance and left when he saw his forces defeated. So he is still out there. Snarl ended up surviving the rock slide and informs the Maximals the warning message was successfully sent to Cybertron. The story then transitions to 2 weeks later, with Razor Beast and his Maximals building a new base. Prowl asks him what's up, and Razor Beast answers that the Beast Wars is running its course, referring to the main Beast Wars. Then Megatron will do his best to wipe out Optimus Primal and the Maximals. Afterward, he will bring his madness back to Cybertron. He then says, "He was at my mercy. I could have ended him forever, Prowl, but I was taught to respect the timeline, not tamper with it. I was sorely tempted though." Prowl replies, "You did the right thing. It's not about what happens over there or then, but here and now. Like it or not, this is our Beast Wars. How we rise or fall will define us forever." That's the end of the Beast Wars, at least for now. The story goes to apocalyptic levels in the sequel series, Beast Wars Ascending. Comment below if you want me to cover that, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Other than that, have an awesome day, everyone. And always remember, every day to maximize and go beyond.